Well, I'm really proud of our guys. I thought our energy was, again, terrific. I thought that we were able to, they really were defensive-minded and trying to pressure us. And sometimes, we'd like to think at some point that's our advantage, but early in the season that's difficult to do, and we ask so many different people to handle the ball. But I thought we did a very good job of that. And then defensively, I thought we were very good, very energetic, active. We committed a few too many fouls. We fouled Emmenduro 10 times. So that always makes it difficult. He's really a difficult guy to guard, as is Riley, who's a great player. So really pleased with the win and looking forward to Tuesday against William & Mary.
Mooney, it looked like Jaden sort of found his footing tonight. Could you talk about his performance and what he brings?
Yeah, Jaden is a really unique player, certainly unique for Richmond, and somebody that I think could, I think he could be spectacular. He as we continued, we've really only had him for maybe a month or so, he working out. So I think, the things we're trying to help him get better with are the things that, Richmond guys do well, and their ball handling and sense, and which he really can do those things and has a great sense. But we're working on the things that he could, even take his game to the next level. He's so difficult to defend around the basket and on the perimeter. He came up, he dove and got the rebound and called timeout. It was a great play. Has great energy and, really a difference maker of a player.
What would you say of the Spiders after 2 games?
Well, I think very good. I just love, I do love the energy, and as much as that has changed in college basketball, this group is just very fun to be around. Very competitive, has a good personality, has very good team speed and sense, which is they've always been the things that we're looking for. So I really like us, and I like the energy that we have, and I we talk to the guys about even bringing it to another gear as everybody is more familiar with the time that you're in the game and getting ready to return to the game.
This team, it's only 2 games, but it's shown that it has some grit.
Yes. For sure. There were some hustle plays, and, Jonathan Beagle took a big charge for us on a play that's not traditionally, a charge, or it's not traditionally called for on his own man. Jaden diving on the floor, the way we move the ball up the court. Kel had a steal on a breakaway. So, yeah, there's a lot of grit and a lot of competitiveness.
Coach, you led the Ivy League in 2 years in a row. How much is this balance that you're now working through kind of forcing you to kind of change the way you thought of the game of basketball? Yeah,
thank you. I think the nation 1 year too, but that's irrelevant. I think it was something that once we saw in the summer the balance of the team and the depth, then we talked about, all right, well, how are we going to do this? And it's not the simplest thing in the world. I think sometimes you have to worry about later in the game maybe who's on the floor, the matchups, the foul issues. But I think that the way we play helps us do it because there is an interchangeability of the players, not so much the centers, but of the players. And I talked to Mike Rhodes and Jamal Brunt about the subbing, and so far we've hit it pretty well in terms of everybody playing. I think everybody played at least 13 minutes tonight, so that's pretty good, and hopefully we can continue that. And again, it just keeps everybody in the game with a high level of effort and intensity.
A game like this, when you're shooting nearly 70 free throws, ungodly amount of fouls, it helps to be able to go deep.
For sure. Early in the season, there are often more whistles than as the season goes on. Maybe this year will be different, but we have to do a little bit better job. We picked up some fouls that, there's not an advantage by the offensive player, and we have our hands in there a little bit too far. So, it's great to be fresh, and we did a lot of those hustle plays very well tonight.
The play coming out of halftime where Will Johnston hit a 3, was that a design play to get him going, or is that just the way it kind of worked out? Yeah,
that was, let me think. That was, well, there's a design on the play, but that was just the result of continuing to play, which was a nice little play, and he got a wide open shot.
You mentioned fouling is kind of one of the big issues from game one and 24 fouls again tonight. How do you balance sort of the physicality and grit of the team, which seems like it's really the heart of the defense with fouling? Yeah,
that's a great question. And, it's something that, we have officials at practice, a couple times a week, and there's just a different element in the game. And you're trying to do everything right. You're trying to play so hard. And it's just natural to use your hands a little bit more than the rules suggest. So I think just continuing to work on it, getting used to games where we can make sure that we're a little bit better at that. This team, East Carolina, is difficult because of Emajuro is so unique and Riley is so good. So hopefully we'll get better at that. It's something that we're talking about and hope to improve.
Jaden, it was 11-11, and then really quick it was 25-13. What do you think happened in that sequence? Because you were able to sort of stay in command from that on.
I'll say we just have a lot of people that's ready to come off the bench and ready to go. That's I feel like is our biggest strength is our power in numbers. So like everybody that came off the bench played double digits. Everybody made major contributions in the game, and I feel our biggest strength is being able to have a 5 out there and then being able to sub or take whoever out and still be able to not let the energy drop, but probably bring it up a little more. And I'll say that was probably the main thing, just people coming in, fresh bodies, being able to play just like the starters and being able to come in and make plays and, push the lead up like how we did.
You looked more comfortable tonight, as did Johnston, as did Dave Thomas. I wonder if that comes with just being in games with a new group.
Yeah, I feel like, we all been playing for a while. Me, David, and Will, we've all multiple years in college basketball, so after a while you just start to get comfortable. I feel like me coming back, I had a little late start to the season, but just being able to come in and practice every day, and once I really got into the groove of things, everything just gets a little more easier. You understand everything just moves a little slower and easier for you to understand, easier to make plays and everything.
You mentioned the delay to your preseason. Were you seriously concerned that was it, that you would play basketball no more, or were you confident you'd be back?
I mean, at first, I was definitely thinking I would never play basketball again. The doctor at first told me I'll probably never be able to play again, and definitely not at this level. But I just prayed a lot. I'm really close with God. I just prayed every day, and I just had faith that He was going to work everything out, and I was going to be back on the court. And eventually that's what happened. I know it was just a waiting game at that point. Just had to go see more doctors and do testings and everything. But I was worried at first, but I just kept praying, and my worries all went away. I know I was going to be back soon.
Do you feel 100% now, or you're still getting there?
I feel like we still getting there. It's still a little bit more work to do, but I'm definitely further than where I started at. I'm getting there. They're real close to it. I've been doing a lot of extra work with Coach Jay and Coach Andy before and after practice. So we definitely getting there, but I'm definitely close to 100%.
Thank you, Jaden. Back in your hometown, 13-7 tonight. Does it feel different to put a game up like that in front of your hometown friends and family?
I mean, it feels great. At the end of the day, it's just another game. But, be able to go back home and be able to chill with my family and my friends and see them all after the game. And, just being able to do what I've always done growing up and be able to do it at this level now, it definitely means a lot to me. And, I feel like I take these games a little more personal than anybody else because this is my hometown. But, it definitely felt great being able to be out there, especially going through what I had to go through. So, it's definitely an honor.
Seems like when you get the ball, the first thing you're thinking about is how am I going to get by my man and to the basket. Is that just kind of the way you play every day, or is that something you kind of learned throughout the years?
No, that's kind of just me. I've always been a gritty type of player, trying to get to the basket and use my body and my strength to my advantage. So, most of the time I am looking to get to the basket, or, if I can't go all the way there, then making a play for one of my teammates, making a good pass. But, yeah, that's mainly why I've built my game around, getting to the basket.
Nobody on the team played more than 26 minutes tonight. Is it difficult or an adjustment at all getting into a tempo or rhythm, knowing that you're only going to be in there for a short burst or coming in and out?
It's definitely an adjustment, but I feel like that just makes you want to go even harder when you in. Like knowing that you're going in, probably gonna be getting taken out in the next 5-6 minutes. So I feel like it makes us just want to go a lot more harder when we do get in the game. Just go all out, do what you can do while you are in, because you got a sub coming soon. So I feel like it definitely just makes us want to go a lot more harder then.
And you seem to be moving really up tempo tonight, especially when you went on that run in the first half. With fast breaks and in transition. Is that part of the game plan, or is that something that just kind of forms naturally?
It's kind of just, Coach Mooney, he likes us to push the ball. He says he's trying to get us to play a lot more faster this year and be able to push the ball a lot more this year. He even said in the locker room just now, just about the guards, trying to push the ball a little more. So, it's kind of the game plan. And, me naturally, I've always been the type of player to grab a rebound or, start an outlet pass or try to start a fast break. It's most of the time the best way to play. So, we're definitely trying to play a lot more faster this year, and we're definitely emphasizing on that.